Hey guys, this is my quick update video for the Nightblade bomber build for ESO PvP. Update 45 changed a few things for bombing, some of them not so good. So I'll go over what changed so you can update your build and so you can continue to be the most annoying, hated, unoriginal thing in PvP. If you have not seen my other videos or you are kind of new to bombing, I would really recommend checking out the links above. Those videos are very thorough and this one will just be a quick update. As always, timestamps and written build below. First off, the developers who have made questionable decisions for a decade now decided to nerf Dark Convergence. With update 45, you can now only activate this set while in combat. If you play on console, you're probably stuck in combat 24/7.
Get the fuck out of here!
So this might not sound too bad, but it does actually affect a lot of bombing opportunities. For example, now if you're sneaking up to a resource to bomb a flag, you won't be able to pull the group because you won't be able to proc Dark Convergence out of combat. This really sucks, obviously, but I don't think it completely kills the set. There are still plenty of opportunities to bomb during castle fights, and you will be able to proc Darkon during the entirety of these fights. Also, Darkon is the set that can pull an unlimited amount of players. There is no cap. So it has the potential to get the biggest bombs in the game. The other change is to Merciless Resolve. Previously, you could hold on to the 5 stacks that you had built up, whether you were in combat or not. Now, the stacks will instantly disappear as soon as you leave combat. This doesn't mean the skill is dead though, because if you're still using Darkon, you're gonna have to be in combat anyway, and it's very easy to light attack 5 times in a fight. If you're going to continue bombing with Dark Convergence, which I still plan on doing, everything in terms of the setup, like the gear and the weights, is exactly the same. So pause here if you're not familiar with it, or click the video link above. In terms of the skills, there are a couple of changes and options to consider. You should still keep Grim Focus if you're sticking with Darkon. In terms of the morphs, you can run Relentless Focus instead of Merciless Resolve if you want a little extra damage, but to me, I like the bigger bow proc and the bigger heal from Merciless because y'all trying to gank me these days. What the f***? Also, you can use Shattering Banner, and I usually swap Camo Hunter out for this on the front bar and Concealed Weapon for this on the back bar. It's a slight trade-off for some of the passives, but to me this works well. In terms of the heal, you can always use Healthy Offering if you don't have Scribing. Healing Soul is my preferred Scribing heal, but you can also use Healing Burst. You sacrifice a little bit of survivability with Healing Burst, but you can put the Minor Courage affix script on this skill and get even more weapon damage. Note that if you are using Healing Burst with Minor Courage, you can use the Minor Beserk script on Banner. And if you're not using Healing Burst, you can put the Courage script on Banner instead. The only other change I'm doing with the skills is I'm using Race Against Time instead of Channeled Acceleration. Nothing changed with the skill itself, I just think that this is better for gaining speed when you're running into a moving group and for getting away after bombs. If you don't want to use Dark Convergence, then surprise, you will run Rushing Agony. The build that I have linked here is perfectly viable for Cyrodiil, so you can pause here and check out that video if you want some more information. For the skills, you can choose a very basic setup like Dark Convergence and simply swap Scalding Rune for Lotus Fan. Or you can run Banner, which is what a lot of people do. If you want to run Ambush instead for the Minor Berserk, so that you can run Courage on Banner, just remember that the Ambush morph doesn't apply Minor Vulnerability to every target. That's why I prefer Lotus Fan. You can take off Merciless Resolve since they nerfed it, and put Camo Hunter here instead. Not only does this give Minor Beserk, but also very valuable Fighters Guild passives as well. One other option is to use the vampire skill Simmering Frenzy instead of Merciless Resolve. You can build up a lot of weapon damage this way, but it's a little risky for some people. Once again, for the heals, you have Healthy Offering with no Scribing, Healing Soul for the best healing scribe skill, and Healing Burst for a good medium with a little bit of extra damage. I know there are a lot of options here, and some people just want to be fed what someone says is the best, but honestly, different skills work better in certain situations, and there are just a lot of playstyles for bombing, and that's why I give options. Update 45 converted a bunch of slottable green champion points into passives, so now there's plenty of room for Gifted Rider, Steed's Blessing, and Sustaining Shadows. The only other change to the CP is that I'm swapping Rejuvenation for Thrill of the Hunt. Rejuvenation is perfectly fine, but if you're good on Sustain and you want to try to get away more often after your bombs, then the speed from this slottable is really helpful in surviving. Nothing has changed for the basics. The Cujo Kills Guild tabard did get a buff with the update, so if you put this tabard on, you will get the 69% damage buff and an additional 6% crit buff for every Khajiit that you have. If you don't want to run a pull set, you can just replace Dark Convergence or Rushing Agony and slap on any high damage 5-piece set. Tarnished Nightmare was slightly nerfed, but you could also use sets like Dagon's Dominion or New Moon. These aren't talked about much, but they're actually pretty solid. Take for example a Dagon setup. This has really high AoE damage and it's basically a spin to win build. If you added just a continuous attack passive from Cyrodiil, the weapon damage would be through the roof. In fact, you could probably trade some of that damage for some more penetration. There's a lot of flexibility here. Personally, I don't like running non-pull sets because I don't find them very rewarding. However, one upside to not running a pull set means there's room for using a few different skills. The one I would definitely recommend would be Contingency. Sometimes the skill makes getting into stealth a little dangerous, like it's easy to get exposed sometimes because of the rotation, but it offers a lot of damage. Otherwise, this would be a basic setup for skills, and everything I talked about in the previous skill section, like different options, would apply here as well. I hope this video helped you keep up to date with Update 45. If you have any questions, please leave me a comment below. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers!